Hello and welcome to our program, Where God Weeps, a program where we talk about the situation of the suffering church around the world. Today it is my very great privilege to be speaking with Magda Wolnik, a journalist, film producer, and a member of the Sant Egidio community. Magda has been traveling the world seeking out the stories of those on the margins, the poor, often the forgotten, and those who are trying to serve them. In this case, Father Giulio, a Salesian priest working with the street children in Luanda, the capital of Angola. We're going to watch now a short excerpt out of his story, and then we'll be coming back and talking with Magda about her experiences in Angola.
Hey, brother. Sorry for interrupting your game.
Father Giulio.
Hey, top scorer. You were the goalie? This home, the Casa Margarida, where we live, is a home for 45 to 50 people, where we offer an education in literacy, primary education, as well as courses in electronics, refrigeration and spooling coils, as well as computing. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I ran away from my father's home because he bullied me. He mistreated me. I ran away from my home because my stepmother beat me very badly.
And where is your mother?
My mother is with her family.
And your father?
He is with his mother. I didn't like the noise, the result of my mother's drinking habit. She would often have rows with my grandmother. Nobody could stand it. One could not sleep. They would quarrel ceaselessly. My mother hit me a lot and didn't give me anything to eat. I robbed her, ran away, and later went to the island. I left my house because I was accused of being a witch. When my mother died, I was left with my uncles and grandmother. They later dubbed me a witch. My parents hid me, which is why I decided to run away onto the streets. My mother abandoned us, which is how I ended up on the streets. I began sleeping on the streets, and then later in some home. My father never looked after me. When he returned home drunk, he wouldn't even let me eat supper. He preferred to beat me, even unconscious.
Violence is ever present in our district at all times of the day. We have had 6-7 years of peace, but social peace is ever lacking. Everyone is armed with hand and machine guns. Young people who walk the streets shoot at night so that one has to hide or simply stay home. This aggression and violence is the consequence of the times we are living in. No one is in control. Nobody has been disarmed. The government gave out these weapons and now finds it difficult to take them back. They traded arms, even the police do it. They confiscate them here and sell them to others. Violence is particularly prevalent in 2 districts, Kazenga and in Sambizanga, where we are now. We have to give them what they like, so that with time they take what we offer them. Offer them pleasant things, like sport, Sport is important and encouraged here because sport educates if it is properly supported. We're not talking about sports where each does what he wants, fighting. No, you become part of a team which leads you to some end if you learn to cooperate. As Don Bosco used to say, upbringing is a matter of the heart. They need somebody to welcome them when they return, to inquire about their well-being and attend to their needs, to caress and hug them, to play their favorite game, and thereby with time surround them with affection. One should never hit a child. He already has to fight on the streets. When he comes home, every child must be welcomed in a friendly atmosphere, so that when he leaves or runs away, he misses the atmosphere and so wants to return here. You have come for the capoeira?
No, we're altar servers.
But why can you not come to the capoeira? Service of the capoeira. It is great. Look over there. Look at that child. Look at that kid. Show your arrangements. Look at that kid go. Except that your trousers are overlong. Now this one, look at him. He will land on the wall. Like so. Exactly so. We no longer have to go out on the streets in search of children. The boys create their own publicity. Look, we're going to the Magone home, where we eat, study, and so step by step they come to us. Of course, some return to the streets, but I believe that 90% of those who come here stay, and with time achieve successes that are important to them. We watch boys who were advanced drug addicts, who drank heavily, and see how they change. For example, I was very surprised today to see kids I hadn't yet reached already organizing themselves. This group here, the others over there, we go to study. There are 40 of you. When 5 more join, there'll be 45. Go and tell Sister Bertha that Father asks to lend him 5 plates.
5 plates.
Go now, okay? How many are there?
43 loaves.
43?
We will be 1 short.
We will be 1 loaf short. This work is about making them take responsibility for themselves. It would be easy to employ somebody, a cook who buys and prepares everything. They would come and everything would be ready. The aim is to add value to what they themselves do. I saw boy soldiers on both sides. They were called rusgas, groups of children taken by soldiers or guerrillas. 8 to 10-year-old children. There were many. They carried weapons and other materials. The situation changed their mindset totally. Violence takes over a human being very quickly. It is very easy to brainwash a child, far more difficult to clean it, pull him out of a violent mindset. It's as if these children were condemned to kill, and to make it worse, the child thinks he's doing good. When I first settled here, they came in, aimed at me and said, "You have to die, Father, because you won't do us any good here." I had no means of defense. People who lived here began to shout, "But he's a priest." And the one who was aiming at me left me and went to another room because he was stoned. Another violent situation I intervened in involved two boys who attacked one of our boys. They threatened me with a pistol. "Here. Here, take this telephone if you want, but leave the boy."
God, I'm stoned. What's going on? I'm always here. They know me. I'm always here. They are my friends. I grew up with them. We ate together, studied, and played. So now we are here, friends forever. That I have survived to this age is, my friend, purely thanks to God. Yes, thanks to God. We need your help. One more chance.
A Salesian cannot rest so long as there are young people who lead lives guided by values other than those of the gospel. My dream is exactly that, to redeem these young people, give them a profession, create a place for them to spend their free time where they can meet, to go out to them on the streets, into blind alleys, and give them a helping hand, so that they do not go off track. To be here, that is my dream. Be here to tell these young people, which one of you will take up the challenge to live with Christ? As our unforgettable John Paul II used to say, Christ takes nothing away. He gives you everything. There will always be a street, there will always be a child, and that child will ask us with his gaze, "What have you done to get me out from here?" And so I will always walk the streets.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our program Where God Weeps. It's my great privilege to be here with Magda Wolnik, film producer and director of The Story of Father Giulio and his work with the street children in Angola. Magda, thanks for being with us here today in our program.
Thank you, Mark, very much for the invitation.
Magda, first of all, how did you meet Father Giulio? How did you meet this extraordinary priest working with the street children?
We've met Father Giulio in Angola, in Luanda, first time during the visit of Pope Benedict XVI in this city. When I met him first, I saw that he is a very extraordinary priest, a missionary.
Very active, no? Very full of energy.
Very active priest, yes, you're right, but also very joyful priest who has a very good contact with the people and also with the children. He told us a bit about his work with the children. He invited us to see them on our own eyes, and yes, we wanted to see and to meet those who Father Giulio takes care every day.
What was your first impression when you came, when you saw these street children? Were you shocked?
I was shocked because the street children are living in the slums of Luanda. It's a huge area, very, very poor area, and the children who are living there, they do not have nothing. They do not have families, they do not have any means of life. And they are abandoned very often on the streets, trying to find something to eat, trying to survive in this very violent city. So yes, we were touched, we were struck, and
were you ever afraid?
At the beginning, yes, we were afraid a bit, because being on the slums of such a violent city,
and being surrounded by all of these children who live with violence day to day.
Not only by the children, but also by the adults. We've heard very frightened stories. What happens every day in this city. But we also had an impression that we are there just for a moment. We would like to meet these people. We would like to listen their stories. They are people like we are. They do not want to kill us, to make harm of us. They are just in very difficult conditions.
What is it that brings the street children? I mean, there are practically hundreds of thousands of street children in the capital, Luanda, in Angola. Why are there so many street children in Angola?
There are many different reasons. Angola is the country that survived for a long, very cruel civil war. And after this war, many children are on the streets because they lost their parents, they lost their families. Others were abandoned by the families who were too poor to take care of them. The other children escaped from their families because of the problems of their parents, problems of alcoholism.
Another challenge is witchcraft. I understand from what I've read, I don't know, and I'm looking forward to you telling me a bit more, but a problem of many of the children is that they've been chased away from their families because of witchcraft. What is the problem?
It's a very big problem, not only in Angola, also in other African countries, that sometimes either children or the elders, the old people of the families, are accused of being a witch. If somebody is ill in the family, if there is anything happens that anything happens difficult to the family,
they need to find a scapegoat, somebody who
yes, they are trying to find who is guilty for this, and in most of the cases, the person who is the most weak person in the family
is the one who's blamed.
Child, yes, a child or elder people. It's blamed to be a cause of these difficulties, of this illness.
And then what happens to them, or what can happen to them if they, to this particular child?
Usually, it's thrown away from home, from his family, and abandoned on the street.
Back to Father Giulio himself. What was your impression when you met him? You said he was a joyful man. Where do you think this joy comes from?
We were sure that this joy comes from his faith. He is a very deep, very faithful man, and we could see also his love towards these children. He was giving, in fact, all of his life, all his time, or his strength to be with these children, to try to get them out from the streets, to help them.
What practical things does he do for them? How does he help them practically?
First of all, that he gives these children the place to stay. He proposes, they are organized, they build a house where the children can stay. One house for a beginning, they can come, they can sleep there. Later on, step by step, they can also become members of a family which is living nearby and taking care of the children. They're also giving them the foods. They give them the education. Sometimes it's they have to begin from very beginning, from illiteracy courses. They have to try to send them to school, to encourage them to learn. But also, Father Giulio and other people who help them, they are trying to make these children again, because living on the streets, they can.
They become hard.
They are experiencing lots of violence, cruelty, sexual abuse, drugs, and in fact they are not anymore children. And coming to the normal life, being with Father Giulio, they start to play with the other children. They start to think about the others. They start to take care of the younger ones, and first of all they start to smile again.
And it must break your heart to see the circumstances in which these children find themselves and are not allowed to be children.
Yes, of course, this place touched us very much, and when we come back home we cannot forget the place, we cannot forget these children, their faces. So when we think about Angola, we think about them. They are still living there. We are there just for a moment, trying to touch their life, to be with them for a moment.
How do you think this has changed you?
I don't know, but I think that now I look on with another eyes. First of all, of Angola. Thinking of the country that is so far away from us, but in the time of globalization, it's not far, in fact. And I think that every one of us can do something for this country, for another countries, for another poor people living far away from us, and also maybe trying to look around more attentively, trying to see that the poverty is also close to our homes.
I want to go back a little bit to the story in Angola. What happens to the children when they become of a certain age? I don't know, for example, perhaps you can tell me, what age do the children, are they asked to leave? And then what happens to the children? Do they still keep in contact with Father Giulio after they leave the home? And what happens there?
Yes, there are children very different age, beginning from 4 or 5 years ago. We also
so young on the streets.
Very young children on the streets. Sometimes they are also newborn babies that are left on the streets, and there were cases that somebody brought such babies and
left them at the door.
Finding them, yes, leaving them on the door, and thanks God that there are people who can take care on these children. So, in the house of Father Giulio, in the house of Mama Margarida, the woman, the family helping Father Giulio, they are children from 5-6 years ago until 18 years ago. During these years, they get the education. They also can attend later on the courses, the specialist courses, that helps them to find a work later on.
Like vocational training, I suppose, in different skills.
Yes, different skills. This is very important because otherwise they could not find any job in this huge, vibrant city. So this is the first thing. The other thing that, of course, they step by step they are also introduced to faith. Father Giulio every day say mass. They are boys who were before they were hooligans. Let's say they were also beating others. They were thieves. They had a very difficult childhood. But later on, they become ministrant of the altar. They also see that these values that Father Giulio is bringing them can have a meaning in their own life.
Were you able to be a witness to the changing of these hearts of these young people from, I suppose, hard heart to a heart that would have been open to God and open to the others around them?
It was amazing because they started to tell us what do they want to do in their lives, what job do they would like to do, and all of the boys, because mostly they are boys. One of them wanted to be engineer, the other one wanted to be a teacher. Many of them wanted to be a doctor to help the others. They also saw that people like Father Giulio are helping them, and they become to feel the desire to help also the others.
Help others as well. Father Giulio's work is still going on. What can we and those who are with us on our program do for Father Giulio and for the Salesian fathers like him working with the street children?
I think that first of all we can pray for them, because that's the best thing that we can do. Remembering about the people who suffer in another part of the world, and of course we can try to help them through, for example, through Aid to the Church in Need, that is helping the priests, also helping Father Giulio, the other priest, to be there, to be with these children. Father Giulio tells us that his biggest dream is to be with these children, to look on the streets, to search for the children, to help them. So if we can help a bit Father Julio to be there, to be a missionary, to stay on the streets, we are also helping the children.
As you titled the film, I Will Always Walk the Streets, and that's his dream, is just to be with these children.
Yes, we hope that there will be other priests, other nuns, other lay people who will walk the streets in Angola and other countries, looking for those who need help and taking them out from these difficult circumstances and bringing to faith, bringing to joy, to normal life.
Magda Wolnik, thank you for being with us here today in our program.
Thank you, Mark, very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us today on Where God Weeps. And if you'd like to know more about the situation of Catholics in Angola, the street children in Luanda, and perhaps how you might be able to help, I would encourage you to look at the contact information at the end of this program. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.